Hey guys, this is Big E coming to you from Big E's Car Garage. It is another lovely day here in the hot state of Texas here at Big E's Car Garage. Before we go any farther, be sure and hit that like and subscribe button. Remember the other day when I told you I messed up? Well, today is the day. I'm going to get these front hubs on my 2013 F150 fixed, along with replacing the upper control arms with the ball joints. Before I start any project on a Saturday morning, can't be complete without a hot cup of coffee. We're going to get started here. I'm going to walk you through this and explain what I've done. Again, I heard some rattling in my right front wheel. I knew it was a wheel bearing. Of course, the wheel bearing is pressed into the hub, and this is a four-wheel drive truck. So we're going to get started. First thing I'm going to do is get the wheels off of this truck, get it jacked up, and I'll show you the parts that I have laid out in order to get this fixed. All right, guys, as you can see, I've got the parts laid out that we're going to replace over here. I've got the two new front hubs. I've got the two upper control arms. I got most of my tools laid out here. Again, my impact wrench, that's one of my favorite tools right now. I've got my torque wrench laid out. I want to make sure we get everything torqued back to spec. My work gloves. And again, we're going to go ahead and get this started, get the truck up in there and start getting this stuff replaced. Okay guys, we got the truck jacked up securely. As you can see, like I say, I did notice too while I was in here and just taking off the wheels, I do need a set of front brake pads, so I'm gonna go ahead and get those replaced as well. We're gonna start out by taking the brake calipers off, then we'll pull this rotor off, and then we'll get to this hub, which there's gonna be 4 bolts behind here, and also the bolt behind the center cap. We'll come over here to the other side. Same thing over here. I'll start out by taking this caliper off. We're gonna pull the rotor off, then we'll get to the 4 bolts in the back holding the hub on, along with this center bolt. As you can see right here, like I say, I'm gonna be replacing these upper control arms. Again, these dust boots have busted, so it's not able to retain any grease in there. We're gonna go ahead and get those replaced just for maintenance, and I'll be back with you here shortly. All right guys, I got this front rotor off, the brake assembly off, as well as the pads. I'm gonna show you here. So this hub has gotta come off. We're gonna have to remove this bolt. There's 4 behind here. This cable here, we're gonna go ahead and this is for your ABS sensor. We're gonna go ahead and pull that out of here. These clips right here will just need to pop out. And you can just follow those on up. You can kind of see that one back here. When you get to this one up here, this is gonna be your, let's see if I can get this out. So this clip right here, what you'll wanna do is just pull out on this red tab, and this should release this connector, and then we'll be able to unplug the ABS wheel sensor. And I'm gonna go ahead and get that off now, and once I get this off, I'll come back to the video. Okay guys, I've got the 4 back bolts out of the hub, as you can see here. So we're gonna go ahead and take this out. I've removed the ABS wheel sensor cable. Just be sure when you're taking it out from around this dust shield, you don't cut it or kink it. It's in there kind of tight, even though this is the old one. I've already got the bolt out right here, so we should just be able to pull this hub out. And there we go. And again, like I say, you can see the wheel bearings are pressed into this hub. So I'm gonna lay this to the side. Probably add a little bit of grease in here and clean this up. I'm gonna go ahead and start getting the new one in, and I'll be back with you in just a second. Guys, as you can see now, I've got the new front hub on. These back bolts right here that actually hold this thing on, there's 4 of those. Be sure and torque those to 120 foot-pounds. We've got the ABS sensor wire cable ran up here all the way up to its connection point. I'm gonna go ahead and take a little bit of a break. I'm gonna reinstall new pads, the caliper, which is hanging here, and I'll get this front rotor back on. I'll show you a picture of that, and then we're gonna move to the other side. All right guys, I ran into a slight problem. As you can see, when I came around here to the right side hub, I had a problem. The brake rotor was stuck severely onto the hub right here. So I'm gonna show you a little trick I use to get that off. Over here is my brake rotor. Again, it was stuck on this hub pretty good. I'm gonna take this stub out to show you what I did. So since I'm replacing this hub, I went ahead and just removed the brake rotor and the hub itself while it was together. And what I did, since tapping on the rotor didn't work, I just took a stud here, aligned it with the hub, and what I did was came on this side with my hammer and just gently tapped on the stud. So what was happening at first when I didn't have this matched up, the stud just pushed all the way through. It was stuck just that tight. So once the stud started backing out, it would hit the hub here, which allowed me to go ahead and separate the hub from the rotor. So again, I was able to get that rotor off and it was stuck. If you have that problem, again, this is a tip for you. You can just remove the entire hub, line the hub mounting area up with a stud, come on this side and tap it with a hammer, and that should release the brake rotor in order to come off. You can see 2 of the studs jumped out before I figured that out. So again, lesson learned, but a tip to save you. We'll be back here shortly. Before I get this all the way back together, you can see I've got my brake pads on. One good tip while you're installing your rotors back and you get your caliper mounting bracket on, I would suggest to get this lined up. Go ahead and just sink down 2 of your lug nuts, just opposite ends. That'll keep that rotor straight, and just let all your brake pads and mounting bracket line up. So that's just another tip while you're doing the brakes and putting this back together. We're here in my shop. I'm going to show you something, guys. This right here is my brake caliper mounting bracket for the driver's side. These pins, as you can see here, these should be able to go in and out like this. This one here is seized. I've twisted it, heated it, nothing. It'll turn, but it won't come out. Needless to say, I can't save myself some money on this, so I just had to opt and go buy a new bracket from O'Reilly. So I just went and picked that up. I'm about to get this brake caliper mounting bracket back on, the driver's side bolted up, and then I'll be moving on to the upper control arm. But just wanted to let you guys know, this pin here was stuck and I couldn't get it out, so I had to go replace the bracket. Okay guys, after a slight delay, we've got the brakes and the hubs done. As you can see there, we went ahead and got the new bracket on. Everything is good to go. Now we're fixing to get started on replacing these ball joints and upper control arms. I've got everything laid out over here. Again, these are the control arms and ball joints that we're going to be putting on. I'm going to get started on this, start taking these apart. We're going to have to pull this nut off. These 2 bolts up in here, as you can see, you can kind of see how long they are. This is what we may have a challenge with once we back it out, trying to get it past the strut. So I may have to actually drop this with these 3 bolts on top. It just depends. I'm hoping I don't have to take that apart. Needless to say, I have seen people fish these out through the K member. So I'm going to loosen these up now and try to get this out and see if we can get these replaced. From the looks of it, these bolts are going to come out. What I wanted to show you guys was, see how long this bolt is, and I'm just taking my punch and knocking this out. This is the other one over here. I think that's gonna come out okay. I don't think, as of right now, I'm gonna have to drop the strut, so we'll see what happens. I've got this nut off here for the ball joint, and I'm gonna go ahead and take this upper control arm off, put the new one on, and I'll be back. All right, we got those bolts out. We'll see if they go back in as easy as they came out, but they are long. I was able to get them past the coil spring on both sides. As you can see, I've got the control arm off, the ball joint are loose. We're gonna go ahead and take that out, and we will get the new one in place. Okay guys, I gotta say, it's been a day and I'm tired. I had to take several breaks. I've been out here in 101 degree heat trying to get this repaired, and the heat got to me, so I had to take several breaks. I ran into several issues. For some reason on the driver's side, everything went pretty smooth other than the caliper. The upper control arm bolts came out fine, and I thought that was gonna happen on the passenger side, but for some reason when it got to the passenger side, the bolts just did not want to clear the strut. So I messed with it for several hours. And I started this morning at 7 o'clock. It's now 3 when I'm just now wrapping this up. But needless to say, I pretty much had to take the entire right side of the truck apart. I had to drop the strut in order to get the bolts out. Again, I don't know why they wouldn't clear it, but they wouldn't. Needless to say, I got those out. I'm gonna just walk around the truck and show you a little bit of what was done. So as you can see here, like I said, we got the old control arms and ball joints off. Those were in pretty rough shape. You can see that they wouldn't hold grease. This other one was the same way. Again, these hubs over here, I had a bearing that was out. You just have to replace the entire hub, no big deal. Like I said, just as long as you can get your brake rotor off. And again, the one over there you see with the stud, that was the one I had the issue. And again, I showed you guys earlier the tip how to get that off. Let's see, we got the F-150 back together. Got the wheels and tires back on. I can let down the hood now. I had the brake cap off since I was doing the brakes too. And that way I could just let the air purge out of the cylinder. This is the side that I had trouble with. Again, if you're looking that close, now you can see the new upper control arms. Those bolts, again, on this side were very difficult to get out. They just did not want to clear the strut. That was tough. Needless to say, just trying to get the ball joints lined back up with your spindle and hooked up. I actually, again, had to remove the entire strut over here, take the 3 top bolts out, the large bottom bolt, which is a 30 millimeter. You can see down at the bottom. We lowered it. That let me have enough clearance in order to drop that strut down to get those bolts out. Again, we got it back together. I'm about to let the hood down. We're gonna take it for a test drive, just let everything seat and break in. Again, these are the old parts. I do have to take that bracket back and get my core credit on it. I'll do that in just a second. All right, guys, so once again, this is Big E from Big E Car Garage. We got the front hubs replaced, we got the upper control arms and the ball joints replaced. It's hot out here. I'm tired. I think I'm going inside to have a beer and rest. Once again, guys, if you hadn't already, hit that like and subscribe button. Be sure and do so. I'll be sure to come back and show you guys how to save money repairing your own vehicle. And again, this is Big E from Big E's Car Garage. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. I'll see you guys again next week. Thanks.